On December 12, 1983, a young man named Carl decided to go out for a camping trip. It wasn't until 12 hours later when things started to take a strange turn. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the creepy and mysterious stories, then I want you to go down to your local coffee shop, grab a cream latte, put your finger in it, make sure it's lukewarm, and then throw it at the subscribe button. Carl was a 26-year-old male with a pretty loving family. He had 2 kids and a wife and a pet dog. Carl always kept to himself. He was a very quiet guy. He was loving to his family, but he never really left his house. And so the day he said to the family, "Hey, I'm going on a hike to the woods." He gave them the GPS location, and he said, "If I'm not back in 2 hours, then call me." Now, the woodland that Carl went walking to was a pretty uneven terrain. There were roots sticking out the ground and sticks, etc. So obviously Carl, who doesn't leave his house much, when he's walking around this terrain that he's not comfortable with, he's going to slip and fall. And that he did. And during one of those falls, he dropped his phone. Of course, his wife can contact him, see how he's doing, and it's been several hours since he's left the house. And so obviously Claire is starting to get a bit worried. He told her if he's not back within 2 hours to call him. And she has been calling him multiple times. She's panicking now. It's been over 12 hours. And so she calls the police. She decides to call the police. And she says, "Hey, my husband Carl, he's been missing now for over 12 hours. And the officer sort of reassures her. He says, "Look, it's that type of area. He made a set pitch for the night. I'm sure he's okay." But Claire obviously knows her husband quite well, and he's not that type of guy. And so she insists. She says, "No, Carl would be back by now. Something's going on." So the officer says, "Look, this area isn't known for missing people. It's not a very big woodland. It's very unlikely he's gone missing. If he's not back tomorrow, then Then you give us a call in the morning, and we'll sort something out." And so Carl now has gone into survival mode. He started to panic. But Carl used a few techniques he learned in his room from YouTube. Carl was a big fan of the Bear Grylls survival show. And so he followed one of Bear Grylls' techniques to survive being lost in the woods. One of these techniques was to use a certain stick that was easy to remember. So he places the sticks, so he walks one way, he walks north, and he places a stick every couple of meters or so. And if he doesn't really get far, well, then he can follow it back to where he originally was. And so for the past 12 hours or so, Carl has been doing nothing but walking and placing sticks, meter by meter, while his wife is at home worried sick. It's the next morning now, and she's called the police. And the police still tell her to remain calm. It's very unlikely anyone's been lost in them woods. It's a very, very small woodland. It's very hard to get lost in it. And so Carl has actually managed to get out of the woods now. But Carl wasn't happy that his phone was missing. And so Carl now knows the way to get out and the way to get in, because he set up his sticks meter by meter. And so Carl is going back into the woods now to look for his phone. Things were going pretty smoothly for Carl right now. He's managed to find a safety exit and a way in and out. And so what he's doing, he's going in and out of the woods to try and find his phone. And so Claire's not happy, and she said to the police, "No, I'm not letting you do this again. I'm not allowing you to dismiss this. My husband is lost. He could be dead right now. You need to go search for him." So the officer sighs. He's not a very good officer. He's quite lazy. But he managed to get a bit of a search squad together. And so they head to the location. It's early morning now. It's about 7 in the morning. And they've got about 20 police officers. And so the police are now searching the wooded area to look for Carl. And of course they can't find Carl. Carl, on the other hand, doesn't know what's going on. He's in a panic mode, he's in survival mode. And Carl, when he hears these people talking and the boots on the ground, he thinks it's a cannibalistic tribe coming for Carl. So what Carl does is he climbs to the top of the trees to hide from the police. And so the police can't find him, and they get back to Claire and they say, look, we can't find Carl. He's obviously gone somewhere else. So the police say to each other, hey, look, let's go back to the police station, see if he's turned himself in or come for any aid. And if he's not there, then we'll come back and search again. It wasn't until they was walking off, they heard a song. Mr. Sandman. Bam, 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 bam. And the police are all confused. They're thinking, what's going on? Why is there the sound of Sandman? And they soon approach the sound to find a phone on the floor. So the police head back to the station to let Claire know they've got Carl's phone. She wasn't sure what to do with this information. She didn't know whether to be scared, worried that he might have died, or if he's alive. But the police head back to the woodland to have another search. But this time, Carl is waiting outside, and he sees the police, so he knows it's not a cannibalistic tribe, and he's quite safe. And they say to this man, hey, we're looking, because you have to bear in mind the police have been given no description of what Carl looks like. They've only been told it's a missing person. It's not escalated that far yet. And so they tell Carl, hey, have you seen any men around this area? We're searching for someone. And Carl says no. He says, but I'll go ahead and search with you guys. So the police are looking at each other and they say, hey, why the hell not? Extra eyes, it could be helpful. And so they set off back into the woods. Again, Carl not really used to this environment, and he's falling a lot, and the police are a bit concerned that he might be more of a burden. He assures them he's watched a lot of survival guys on YouTube. He's just got bad feet. He's absolutely fine. They're looking around, and all they can really find is empty beer cans and used condoms. Nothing that would indicate where Carl's location is. So they keep searching for the next 2 to 3 hours. And Claire, she's at home and she's still ringing his phone. Because obviously she's worried for her husband, who's got to provide for the kids. So she's ringing it. And as Carl's walking with the police, he can hear bam, 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 bam. And Carl looks at the police and he goes, because Carl's been looking for his phone this whole time. And he says, hey, that's my ringtone. And he says, let me see the phone. And he looks and he goes, hey, that's my phone. And the police look at him and say, wait, are you Carl? And he goes, yes, my name is Carl. I have 2 kids and a wife named Claire. And the police look at him and they get quite aggravated by this. They say, are you stupid? Are you an idiot? We've been looking for you this whole time, and you're with us? And Carl says, I didn't know I was the said person you're looking for. I was merely looking for my phone while helping you look for the missing person. And they say, no, we're looking for you, Carl. And so they get Carl back to Claire. Claire's very happy, and that's the end of the story.
Now that's scary stuff.